Excellent. Excellent. Hello and welcome to everybody who's joined us so far. We'll be getting started in just a moment's time. Okay, we'll get underway. Hello and welcome to the BSB50215 Graduate Diploma of Strategic Leadership Information session. Today I have joining me Dr. Mark Sinclair, founder of Mentor Education. Mark, welcome.
Thank you, James. Pleasure to be here. This is an exciting course. I'm really keen to talk about it.
Absolutely it is. And what's truly exciting, certainly about the Graduate Diploma, is that it is one of our postgraduate courses and one of the newer ones that we've had come onto scope here at Mentor Education. And certainly, in my opinion, really answers to the demands that organisations and the future has in store for us with, I suppose, response to skill sets that people need, the sort of traits that they're looking for in employees, and the most effective way, really, that they can develop human capital. So let's have a brief look at the course overview. And Mark, what I'm going to do is hand on over to you to talk to me a little bit before I suppose we go into too much information about this, about the value of, say, postgraduate qualifications, and more specifically, ones in the areas of strategy and even leadership as well.
Look, postgraduate qualifications are sensational in terms of bolstering your CV, promotion, pay rise, transitioning into new roles, starting your own business, whatever it might be, for a number of reasons. One, it's got credibility. Two, it pathways up into the master's program if you want to complete. Masters typically has 12 units, sometimes 14, but usually 12 units or subjects within it. Grad Cert is the first 4, Grad Diploma is the second 4. So technically, there's opportunity to pathway upon completion of this and complete your master's program with a number of university or higher education providers. So that's really significant. But more than that, look, I've been a consultant most of my life, KPMG, AT Kearney, doing business transformation, information communication technology plans and things of that nature. And this program really hits the mark in terms of being applicable for managing or being involved within a transformational strategic initiatives within your own organisation, because that's something that you want to get into in future. It's just terrific, and it's just really on point in terms of being practical for you.
Excellent. Now up there, we've got some of the qualifications, well, I suppose actually some of the roles that the qualification caters to. And we've got the General Manager, CEO, Chief Operating Officer, Project Directors, Strategic Project Managers, Senior Project Managers, and even just what you mentioned there, certainly consultants, and obviously top tier firms there as well. We also make reference to those who are looking to develop skill sets in the areas of making high level and autonomous decisions, okay? And I suppose having the ability and confidence, and probably even more so initiative, to back yourself and actually make those calls. Now, when you think about a postgraduate qualification such as this, what role does it play in equipping you with those motions that would allow you to do such things?
Well, look, there's 2 ways to look at it. One, you're already in an organisation where you've got involvement or responsibility for operations plans, business plans, or the like. There's no organisation that doesn't have strategic initiatives underway, projects that need to be done to achieve the objectives of the organisation. So it equips you for that. But look, a postgraduate qualification can be seen another way too. So either you're in these roles or that you've met that are up on the slide, which are all senior management, or you're involved in a project in some way and you've got responsibility along those lines. But more importantly, from my point of view, career advancement is on everyone's mind, right? How do we develop to be the best version of ourselves that we possibly can? And one of the ways to do that is when you think about your career progression or the development of your own business or whatever you're looking for over the next 5 years or your horizon, it's about equipping, firstly envisaging the roles that you want to play that give you the most energy, that give you the most satisfaction, that give you the most reward, and then thinking about the skill sets that you need to position yourselves to capture those opportunities. And a course such as this, firstly a postgraduate course, equips you to do just that, and then a postgraduate course that really is on point in terms of assisting you with the likely transformations going forward. So information, communication and technology is by far the largest area for strategic initiatives. Now, we're worried about cybersecurity, we're worried about automation, we're worried about a whole range of things in our organisation. And this particular course equips you to develop those skills to step in to the future leader or future role that you envisage.
Excellent. Now, what I've put up there in front of us is the course outline, and it identifies the units that are involved in this. And we'll go through them briefly. And I think what we'll really be able to identify here is how they align really closely with a lot of the things that you just mentioned. Specifically, those ideas around transformation, even ICT. I mean, there's a unit dedicated entirely towards integrating sustainable ICT planning and design projects, which we're seeing come up time and time again in the business space as we move more and more online and we begin to implement more and complex systems on top of each other. But that's not to completely discount the importance of the human factor as well, which we've certainly seen come up. And I think that's really reflected in certainly that first unit where it's about lead personal and strategic transformation. So certainly having the skill sets to do that, but also personally developing and developing those around you also plays a big role. Would you think that that's a fair statement?
Look, it is. I could talk about each one of these units here at length. We've talked about the importance of strategic transformation. All organisations are doing that. At the moment, in these particular times, we've seen in 3 months the growth of e-commerce online transactions that that have taken the last 3 years to achieve. So we're accelerating trends, in business, and strategic transformation is at the core of that. But the thing that really jumps out at me when I look at this, at the units of competency that have been used and to structure this particular course, is the importance of a social contract. Now, the social contract with our own staff, right, with our suppliers, so partnerships and relationships, the social contract extends to actually having a collaborative culture within an organisation, having ethical practice, influencing change. The days of autocratic change, where a leader would get up there and say, we're marching to take that hill, and everyone jumps on board and marches towards it. That doesn't exist today. Today, it's about engaging everyone collaboratively, getting the best ideas from everyone, refining and iterations of the change plan so we actually achieve the best outcome for all stakeholders is there. And we've had the Banking Royal Commission. We've seen the importance of leading and influencing ethical practice. The consequence in share price, the consequence in backlash from consumers is huge. So if you look holistically at these units of competency that are presented in front of us, they provide a future of work framework that equips students to be leaders in the future or to participate in that leadership program within organisations. And each one of those systems there is really on point in regards to that.
Absolutely. And I mean, certainly there's so much transparency in business these days. We were sort of talking about it offline, but businesses do have a personality. And the role that leadership plays in establishing what that business personality can't be understated, certainly these days. So the graduate diploma being a postgraduate qualification, the entry requirements for this particular course are a little bit different to, say, a certificate or a diploma. Okay, and postgraduate really, I suppose, lends itself to those studies that are on the other side of bachelor degrees or bachelor studies. But what's really exciting about this particular one is that there are pathways into it outside of that traditional bachelor onto graduate certificate, graduate diploma, and then finally masters. So what we actually make available to students is the opportunity for those who have, say, completed a diploma or an advanced diploma, plus 3 years of relevant work experience, okay, where they can identify some of the skill sets that would be attached to leadership and strategy or business. Now, a combination of those two elements together would put them in a position where they'd be able to apply and more often than not actually gain entry into the particular course. The other option, of course, is having completed a bachelor degree in a related field of study. So certainly business or commerce or something like that would constitute equivalent. And 2 years equivalent full-time workplace experience as well. And then finally, the third option, so for those who don't have any, say, formal qualifications by way of diploma, advanced diploma or bachelor, is one which is built entirely on workplace and work experience. Okay, now what we'd be looking at there is 5 years equivalent full-time relevant workplace experience at a significant level of leadership and management responsibility, and some sort of complexity involved within the enterprise itself. So there's really different ways that you can get into the course. And as we said, it is designed for those who are looking at developing their career. They've already got a certain element or certainly a number of years of experience under their belt and looking at taking it to the next level. Now, the learning material itself built up of set reading textbooks and workbooks, instructed research, self-directed research. We do regular live webinars, and this is one thing that's actually built into this course itself, is that ability to link in not just with your tutor once a week in a live classroom, virtual classroom environment, but also the importance of building a cohort. Okay, so that's fellow students who are completing the course with you. And it's not just an opportunity, I think, to network and identify people with similar interests, but also an opportunity to develop learning ideas. And that really is, I think, one of the great things about postgraduate study and research and qualifications, is that it is research and learning on a deeper level. And it's about constructing your own ideas. And Mark, I'm going to hand on over to you to talk to us a little bit about, I think, self-directed research and the learning experience at postgraduate level and what's expected.
Look, there's no doubt that this particular course appeals to different cohorts of students. And, you know, we talked about 5 years experience before. There's a particular cohort that, you know, may well have come from the ground up, may have no formal study that's undertaken, but they've gradually worked through the ranks in an organisation and undertaking management roles. They have started their own business, and you know, people around them are being hired to, you know, with qualifications, and it's important to, you know, cement your CV with qualifications at this master's level. And equally, there can be the normal pathway where students just come up through and they've studied gradually, have the base knowledge, and they've done that through study underneath. And they're coming now to this master's level qualification, this graduate diploma, that involves now not just understanding knowledge and skills and knowing it and applying it, but now being able to critically analyze and think and solve problems, right? So, you know, it's one thing to follow a plan. It's another thing to even develop a plan. But when you actually have to implement a plan and think about, well, there's a problem here, there's a roadblock, how do I overcome that? You know, what's the business case for the plan? How do I, what's the cost? What's the benefit? What problem am I solving, right? And then how do I solve it the best possible way? And that critical thinking, right, is developed through processes of research, group discussion, group thinking, and that's why the virtual classes are so important, to collaboratively think about and solve problems. And the research component too is about self-directed research, so that you can research a problem, right? Get data from within the organisation. You can benchmark externally. You can look at literature to see how best practice has been documented in the past, so that when you come up and develop a business case, a reason for change, for doing something, you can substantiate it. You know, look, it's references, yes, but it's like examples, best practice examples. It's talking about the cost benefit, saying that, this is the best case, this is the worst case scenario, and this is the most likely case. And that all involves critical thinking, and that is developed through self-directed research and collaborative work, and the like. And so that really summarises the importance of this course, why this course is, say, different from, say, a diploma of strategic leadership and management, where you're learning more about the knowledge and skills. Now this is applying it in really practical areas and using case studies and things of that nature. And the virtual classroom is a really important component of it. It does provide a lot of flexibility, and the outcome, ideally, is that, you kill two birds with one stone. You get the qualification, but you're starting to think to yourself and hopefully applying it within your business or the business you intend to start or whatever it might be, to get that additional benefit, because it's that critical thinking that's something that will stay with you forever.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, look, it certainly gives good insight into, I suppose, into the value of that postgraduate, but then that problem-solving skill set that you build, and then how you can take that from case studies, which you might learn in an academic setting, but then also apply them in an academic setting, and then comfortably take them from there into your real place of work. Now, we've just had a question come in, and really good time to address it, actually, and that's in response to requirements for textbook purchases for each subject and things like that. Now, the course itself, which includes the weekly virtual tutorials, all the subjects, is $2,398.50. And that includes all of your reading, all of your textbooks. There's no more to pay, nothing else like that. So it's actually all included for the students. Now, that's hopefully that answers the question out there. And what's really exciting, I think, about a lot of the course materials and learning materials that are provided is that they're available through the online learning management system. Now, I've got a couple of screenshots of what it may look like when you log in up here. And what's really exciting is that from the learning management system itself, you can actually access the resources internally through that. So you don't have to go about opening up additional tabs or additional web pages or whatever it may be. You can actually do your reading, on your phone, on your tablets. Certainly one of the requirements is having a stable internet connection. But yeah, look, it's all included in there for you. Same with your assessments and things like that as well. Mark, you've been involved in digital learning and online learning for in excess of, 17 years now. I mean, what are some of the, I suppose, and excuse the reusing the word, but what are some of your learnings from, I suppose, the online learning management, system experience, and how is it beneficial for students? And then, of course, how can they get the most out of it?
Well, look, thanks, James. Look, Mentor has been going for nearly for 17 years, and before that, I lectured at RMIT in the MBA program. So, look, online learning provides flexibility. Online learning provides access to the most important information, linkages. We've got YouTube links, video links. We've got references to latest articles from McKinsey and Co. and the like. The real opportunity with online learning is to provide you with the medium and the format that you're going to be working at in your normal working environment. Okay, you're not going to be grabbing a textbook from the shelf to answer a particular problem. You're actually going to face a problem. You're going to have to do some research online. You're going to need access to good quality material and the like. One of the things that struck me when I first started Mentor Education was experiences with bad quality material, lecturers that didn't turn up on time, and time wasting. So I'm all about efficiency of learning, efficiency of study, and having the best material at your fingertips. So we've really spent a lot of time making sure that all our material is contemporary, it's at your fingertips, it's great referencing, and gives you the opportunity to really be efficient in what you do, because we're all working, we're all doing lots of things, right? Time is precious. You have downtime at different stages, and you want to be able to access the material when and where you need it. As a particular tip, all I would suggest is that it's about allocating specific time to study. Everyone does it differently. For me, I'd allocate between 7 and 9 before work started. Typically, I'd go to a coffee shop, sit there, and I would actually access the material and work away on projects or do whatever was required. And I would just allocate a certain amount of time each day to work through the process. It is self-paced. You've got an extended period of time to do it, but where I'd set a challenge to yourselves to actually do it and set your milestones for finishing the program and doing each one of the units. Whether you want to set a month to do each one of the 6 units, 6 weeks, 2 weeks, it's up to you to allocate the time. But put in a bit of a risk factor in there. In other words, things crop up in life, so you might have to have down tools for a little while to deal with certain things in your life. So build in a bit of flexibility, but keep to a structure. Ideally, work with a bit of a team. Find other people that you might be able to work with. So the tutorials are a great space to do that and keep on track. And my other little motto, and I've said it before, is to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, or if you can, 3 birds with 1 stone. That is, get your qualification, right? Apply it to your workplace and achieve something there. If there are other benefits to it as well, do so, which might be a promotion or a pay increase or looking for a different job or things of that nature. But the idea here is to show the initiative and develop the skills to solve problems and step into the next role or the next advancement that you're looking for in your own business and do that through study.
Excellent, great. And actually, I think that's an interesting point there, certainly with the live tutorials as well. I mean, it's a good opportunity to build a bit of a cohort, link in, practice group problem solving, put your skills into play. But there's also that accountability element as well. I think, sort of having to turn up to a live virtual classroom, it really kind of brings the element of accountability to life. And I know for myself, I'm still studying and I think I will for the rest of my life, but I'm a deadline specialist. I need to set those deadlines for myself and I will work to them. It's interesting how it can work differently for different people. And whilst I actually remember, look, I often get asked a question about live tutorials. Now, if you do miss a live tutorial, you do have access to the recording from the previous week and then the week before that, and really the whole bank of live virtual tutorials. So if that's a concern, you can't make it one particular week, you can always catch up by going back and listening to the recording. Now, our next slide is one which students are always very interested to see, and and that's on the assessment. Now, whenever we bring this up, sometimes we get sort of some shocked faces or looks of concern when you see all of these different assessment tasks up here in front of you. But the reality is that these different types of assessment tasks are spread throughout the entire course. So you won't, by any stretch, be asked to do all of these individual different assessment tasks in one particular unit. Some units may have multiple choice or short answer questions. Some may have case studies. Some may have projects, role plays, practical demonstrations, or journal and self-reflection exercises. So it's certainly not all of these in one particular unit, but these are the sort of things that you can expect. And certainly I think there's real value in the case study and scenario responses, the projects, and even the practical demonstration and bringing it to life. And I think this is something that we've talked a lot about tonight, is that value in practical demonstration and bringing those skills and knowledge sets to life and applying them to you, well, I suppose yourself, but also the workplace that you're in at the moment.
And James, I'll just add, because it's a nationally recognised qualification, it is the regulator is very specific for each unit of competency. What are the outcomes that are expected and required? So we use this range of assessments to make sure that we meet exactly what's expected from a national level, which allows you the transportability of the unit, so that every other training provider, once you've got this qualification, it is recognised, or even a particular unit of competency, one of the subjects, it's recognised and accepted as a qualification on the basis that it meets the requirements from the regulator, Australian regulator.
Excellent. So really, I mean, this could stand, I suppose, as a stepping stone or a pathway towards a university master's qualification or whatever it may be. And I think that's something that we often talk about as well. And I'll jump in here. And the value of doing a graduate diploma, certainly to do a master's degree, you might be looking anywhere, say, from $10,000 to $15,000 a year over the course of 3 or 4 years. But to be able to pick up really what is the first and the second year of really what is a master's degree for around about just over $2,300 is not just, I suppose, good from a time point of view, because you can kind of do it at your own pace, but also the money savings really there as well. And certainly that's getting more and more important in this day and age.
Yeah, and look, that's important to us too, because when we started Mentor Education, our mission was to provide high quality, affordable courses so that really we could help as many Australians as possible, and we have international students as well, really become the best versions of themselves and develop to their full potential. And so, yeah, that is an important requirement, because I think education quite often is out of reach for people. There are loan schemes and government loan schemes and the like that can make it seem easier when you do a university program at the prices James talked about. But the reality is you've got to pay that back. And so it's important for us as part of our social contract with our students, our community of learning, that we make our programs really efficient, affordable, and a job ready, so the outcomes that you're looking for are achieved. And we, at the moment we're pushing on the 90%, not just completion rate and satisfaction, but job outcomes. So nearly 90% of all our students achieve the job outcome that they're seeking, and that's one of our really important indicators as part of Mentor Education's value proposition.
Excellent. Now, the duration of the course, over a 12 to 18 month period, and they say around about 610 hours of work. Okay, now, it really will be different for each and every student, and it is a lot of work. I mean, it's a graduate diploma level course. There's certainly no question about that, but that's of course reflected in the learning outcomes, the depth of learning and the expectation at that level. But it's also a good opportunity to say, look, Mentor Education has been involved, with adult learning and, vocational training and all sorts of stuff for 17 years now. And I think really recognises that life happens. Now, in the event that life does happen, people get married, people have children, there's family emergencies, whatever it may be, there are opportunities for students to take a little bit longer if they need to. I mean, it's just a matter of staying in contact, obviously, with the organisation, letting us know what's going on with your life, and then, of course, working with us so that we can make your training plan and essentially achieving that qualification utmost importance and sort of help you along the way. Now, with the student support, unlimited email and phone support, and of course you get access to the tutors by the live tutorials. Email's best, and we do have a live ticketing system, Mark, where obviously getting back to students is, again, another indicator which we use to measure the performance of Mentor. If you want to give us a bit of insight into that, that'd be great.
Well, look, over the 17 years, we've really worked hard at the different processes we have. The ticketing system that James is talking about is every time you come in with an inquiry or request, it's ticketed. We measure the time it takes to resolve your issue. We ask you at the end by email whether you're satisfied, yes or no. And it's really important for us that we're tracking at the 95% satisfaction rate in terms of those tickets. Now, that's just a small thing, but it goes to the heart of us wanting to make sure that we help you at every point of the way so that you actually achieve your goal of completing and getting that job outcome that you're looking for. So that's important. But look, we really try to tackle every aspect of the process, from education advice, which is making sure this is the right course for you, making sure that we understand what your objectives are and this course and qualification is the best, meets that, is the best one for you. We've got over 50 courses that we offer. We're in the services space, and we're always looking for future job ready courses and programs to make sure that the courses really have the job outcomes, the employment outcomes in this changing world of work. But yes, look, every step of the way, we want to make sure you've got the support and that you can actually complete and achieve your goals.
Excellent. Now, just before we wrap up, often we get asked sort of questions, so what I thought I'd do is jump the gun there and see if I can answer them for you. The first is, can I get government funding? And the short answer to that is no. But that said, what we do is we can actually make payment plans and options like that available for students. And Mark, I mean, obviously some of the reasons for avoiding government funding and I suppose taking it on personally, I suppose come back to fiscal sense again, don't they?
Well, look, that's right. Look, I just hate seeing student debt mount and mount, right? And it's not uncommon for people to be paying off, even though, you know, you don't have to pay, you pay it out of your, you know, your income quite often to the government. And once you've hit a certain threshold, but at the end of the day, we don't want you to accumulate big debt. We want the courses to be affordable. Quite often they have upfront fees that accumulate, and look, it's just not, it doesn't hit our values, right? Which is that we want to make sure the courses are affordable. If you do have difficulties, then we'll talk to you about payment plans if that need to be. Again, they're affordable and they can be done over a period of time. And that's, we'd much prefer to do that than enter into arrangements where we labour you with debt and things of that nature. So look, again, we just focus on that affordability of the programs. And, you know, look, in addition, though we don't say much of it, we you know, every week we're looking for acts of kindness. If someone gets into financial difficulty as they go along, talk to us. At the end of the day, we just really want to make sure that you hit your goals and objectives. And if life happens sometimes, then just tell us and we'll see what we can do in terms of scholarships and things of that nature to assist.
Excellent. Now, when can I start? Well, really, you can start at just about any time. And so, look, if you were to get an enrolment to us on, say, you know, 10 p.m. on a Friday night, it may be Monday morning by the time you have access to the course. But in most cases, if you can get the enrolment information through us by, say, 2 or 3 in the afternoon, there's a good chance that you'll be underway that particular night. And then, of course, link into those weekly tutorials. And the schedule for those weekly tutorials, if you head on over to the Mentor website and you look under student information, you can see all the tutorial schedules there. It is all included, so that includes your textbooks, your resources. There's no extra fees for assessments or anything like that. The study options, of course, which include the tutorials, which really are part of this particular course and mandatory because of the learning outcomes and the way they work. We've talked a lot about those already. Yes, it is nationally recognised and forms part of the Australian qualifications framework. So training organisations or universities just about anywhere in Australia. And we've also got pathways for a lot of our courses to international universities, including the University of Wales over in the UK and some MBA programs as well, which is really exciting. The prerequisites we've talked about, and they're going to really vary on each individual. And if you have any questions about that, the best thing you can do is speak to somebody in the educational advice team. So we've got actually a team of people who are dedicated towards working with students, and they will actually work with you for the duration of your learning career with Mentor. So we've had some students who have been with us from Cert 4, you know, right through to Diploma, Advanced Diploma, and they've had the same educational advice team member looking after them the whole way. And that's, you know, providing you advice, you know, look into your background, you know, what's important, where do you want to go, and what's the most appropriate course that's going to get you there. I mean, how's that going to align with your personal and professional goals and things like that. So sometimes there are complexities, and the best to do is jump onto an email or certainly make a phone call and then speak to somebody about it. And then how long does it take to finish? Usually anywhere between 12 and 18 months. So, but could be less, could be longer, really, depending on what happens with life. So that brings us to the end of today. Mark, is there anything that you'd like to add before we close off?
Well, look, just in terms of, I can see one of the questions there is in terms of past credit distinction. This is a program under the vocational education and training scenario. So we work through with you to ensure that you're competent in the particular assessment. At the end of the day, if you're doing critical analysis and sport, you know, we're not that interested whether you get 51 or 99 for the particular program. We actually want to make sure that you actually understand the material and you've applied it in an appropriate way. So you're right. If you're not yet competent, we will work with you, give you feedback, so as to identify what areas of that can be strengthened in your responses, and so that you, at the end of the program, you actually really can apply the knowledge and skills that you've learned through the program.
Excellent. All right, well, that brings us to the end of today, unless there's any more questions. And as always, look, if you want more information, head on over to mentor.edu.au. Feel free to send me an email direct. My information is certainly included in the webinar invitation, or contact our team of educational advice team members and consultants directly, and they're certainly there to help you out. So once again, thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Mark, for helping us out tonight.
Thanks, James. Pleasure.
And we look forward to having everybody on as students very soon.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
See you later, guys.